Hi, my name is Keith Teare, and I want to talk to you today about how to think about change. I'm a venture capitalist. That's a quite recent phenomenon. The previous 4 decades of my career, I was an entrepreneur, and I've done a number of companies, 2 or 3 of them very large companies. 2 of them, in fact, were unicorns. EasyNet, an internet service provider back in the 90s, and Real Names, which was a very large success during the internet bubble era back in the early 2000s. And as an investor, I always tell my startup founders that you really have to pitch your idea to an investor, thinking about the end game of the idea. Investors are very focused on how they'll turn their money into much more money over time. And they do that by trying to figure out whether your end game is valuable. And an end game, therefore, needs to be big and audacious. So I want to take that advice as if I'm giving it to myself. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience during the coronavirus and where it's led me in my thinking. The first thing that the coronavirus showed us is that it was incredibly difficult for governments to engage with citizens to achieve the goals the government wanted. If we take the US as an example, very, very large numbers of people lost their jobs. And as they lost their jobs, the government was prepared to give them money so they could survive. But delivering that money to them was extremely difficult. Just knowing who the people were and finding a mechanism to deliver the money was difficult. That led me to start thinking about the relationship between money, especially digital money, and citizens, and those who want to deliver to those citizens spendable assets, things they can use to buy food and pay rent. And it was very clear society hadn't really solved that problem. It was too hard. Now, now that we're many, many more weeks into coronavirus, it's even more clear that this is an issue. People have been out of work for a long time. There are now 40 million Americans out of work. And in order for them to live, they have to find a means of survival, especially money. So I've started a project called the Universal Basic Income Network. This is a digital project. It's based on the blockchain. And the goal of the project is to deliver every month to every citizen of every nation on earth spendable assets, not money, but things they can spend. And at first it was a puzzle. How would you do that? And wouldn't it cost too much? Wouldn't it be too expensive? The largeness of the idea seemed to already indicate that it wasn't possible to do it. But we kept thinking, and we realized that society already has lots and lots of ways that it delivers to citizens ways of spending that are not giving them cash. The best example, and the first one we came up with, was the example of coupons. Here in the US, we have a supermarket chain called Safeway. Safeway has coupons. So what does a coupon do? When you buy something from Safeway, you can give the coupon, and if you do, you pay less cash for the product. The coupon is worth a certain percent of the product. The second already existing real-world experience that people use is cashback. You probably have all seen, if you spend $100 on something, we'll give you $10 back. Or if you buy a car for $50,000, we'll give you $5,000 back. These cashback programs are merchants giving to consumers cash when they spend. So we thought, what if we took these experiences, the cashback experiences and the coupon experience, and built onto the blockchain a way for anyone selling anything to put into a wallet of a consumer cashback money that will be given to them when they spend with that merchant, or coupons that the consumer can use when they when they purchase from that merchant. So we're going to do that. We're going to build a blockchain-based wallet. This wallet, you could think of it as a universal wallet that can receive spendable coupons or cash from any merchant anywhere in the world. The merchants will put the cash into the wallet. It can only be spent with that merchant. And when you go to that merchant store, online or offline, you will be able to spend that asset along with your cash, so you pay less for everything you buy. By doing this, we anticipate that we might be able to deliver on the universal basic income goal, the one that has been talked about a lot, of giving every citizen $1,000 a month to spend that they don't have to work for. It's universal in that everyone will get it. It's income in that it's spendable. And it's basic in that it will meet most people's needs for food, for accommodation, and so on. The project already exists and has got three components. Firstly, it's got an identity-based component, because if we're going to do this, the first thing we have to do is identify every individual on Earth and make sure they can't be double counted. So we're using a resource called BrightID. And BrightID is a non-governmental identity system. Basically, the way it works is if I say I'm an individual, I will need my brothers or my wife and children to validate that I'm an individual. And if I get enough people to validate, which needs to be 10 or so, I then will be accepted onto the network as a unique human being. And if I try to do it again, because I already exist, it won't be possible for me to duplicate myself. So BrightID is part one. That's how we get 7.5 billion citizens of the world to be on the system and uniquely identified. The second thing, part of the product, is something called the Hedge for Humanity. You can do a Google search and you'll see it online. Hedge for Humanity will be the wallet provider. Any citizen anywhere in the world will be able to install this wallet. And once they have the wallet and they've gone through the identity process, merchants will be able to, through us, put assets into that wallet every month, which can only be spent with them. And then the third part is a universal rewards token. What is this? This is kind of like a cryptocurrency that you could spend with any merchant as long as the merchant accepts it. The reason for this part of the project is, let's imagine that you're entitled to $1,000 a month into your wallet, but merchants only put, let's say, $200 a month in. The universal reward token will top up the wallet to $1,000, and you'll be able to spend the universal reward token with any of the merchants in your area or online who accept that token. And we anticipate that pretty much all merchants will ultimately accept it because they'll want you as a customer. By adding these three things together, the identity system, the wallet system, and the token system, and by making this an open system where any merchant anywhere in the world can put assets that you can spend into this wallet, what we believe we will do is create a system where 7.5 billion people each receive $1,000 a month in value. Now, do the math. That is $7 trillion a month, times 12 is nearly $100 trillion a year, which is equal to the GDP of the world, just a little bit under, actually, measured in something called PPP. Price parity is the way you do it. $7 trillion of spending power a month will double world GDP. And of course, if you can spend these assets, producers are going to manufacture them because they want to sell them. That is the Universal Basic Income Network. You can check it out at ubinetwork.org. It's a big idea. It will change the world. And by the way, it's a for-profit company that merchants will pay for delivering those tokens and coupons into the wallets, so it will make money. Investors, therefore, should love it. So that's my big idea that could change the world, that can take today's problems, which is delivering money to people, and make a better tomorrow. What's your big idea? Thank you.